Hello, everyone. This is Chaim Durst. Thank you for joining me today. I'll be talking about branding. How can you create a unique brand in 650 words or less? That is the goal that you should have for your personal statement. If you can create that image, that brand, that indelible mark in the reader's mind in this short period, then you have succeeded. If you can't, then it's likely to be lost in their memory and the shuffle of other applications. I'm going to explain this in a little bit more detail here. Let's then talk about branding. I certainly wish branding were not the case. I go out of my way not to wear brand clothing because I don't want to be labeled in any way. Unfortunately, however, this process is very invasive, and it's important for you to brand yourself in 90 seconds. Can the reader identify you, summarize you, create a brand for you after reading your essay? That should be your goal. If not, your essay is going to get lost in the tens of thousands of other essays. And that's the reason why I urge students to avoid certain cliche topics like volunteer work, being musical work, or sports. Think about how companies brand themselves. It's very sensual. Think of advertisements for your favorite soft drink or your favorite cereal. It's very visual, auditory. It creates in you a memorable feeling. You're able to associate with that image certain emotions, certain memories. That is the ideal of branding. Companies spend billions of dollars to try to do that. Think of yourself as a movie director. As you go through the essay, try to stir emotions and memories in your reader with gripping imagery, language, and philosophy. I'm going to show you an example of a student who does just that. The first thing that hits me when I exit the subway is the smell of half-eaten fries, beer cans, and greasy cheesesteak wrappers. Plastic surgery clinics line both sides of the streets like angry bridesmaids. Every face seems altered, sculpted, knifed. We're whiter than Americans are now. We are more American than Americans are now. Starving women holding Gucci bags walk the streets like extras in a horror movie. Welcome to Seoul 2009. Where have you gone, tradition? Where have you gone, innocence? A grandma sits in the gutter. In front of her are piles of traditional rice cakes. They are dusty and stale. Who will champion the old Korea? What's left of it? Okay, let's take a minute and look at some of the vivid imagery, some of the very evocative imagery that is contained in just these two paragraphs. We have fries, beer cans, greasy cheesesteak wrappers. Doesn't that remind you of times in your life where you've been surrounded by squalor? Have you ever been in a car where there's trash on the ground, or walked in the street where it's just very dirty and sticky and greasy? Those images evoke those type of emotions in you. Plastic surgery. Okay, I have very strong feelings about surgery, very negative feelings about all sorts of surgery. Angry bridesmaids. Wow, what a powerful image. Usually bridesmaids are supposed to be happy. So this oxymoronic phrase where they're angry and they're standing like these surgery clinics is such a powerful, evocative image that the writer creates. Altered, sculpted, knifed. Again, I try to avoid knives. I'm afraid of knives. So it's creating this really sharp negative imagery. Whiter than Americans. Okay, white has very strong feelings here, creates very strong emotions. Starving women. Now look at this, Gucci bags. Well, there we have a brand right there. Right smack in the middle of all this negativity is a brand. Extras in a horror movie. Grandma sitting in the gutter. That's a horrible image. These traditional rice cakes that are dusty and stale. So every one of these lines is packed with images that evoke memories and emotions in the reader. Let me continue. I enter a PC room and log on to Final Fantasy XI. The room is packed. Cigarette smoke hangs like a storm cloud in the air, blocking out the light. We're the most wired nation in the world. I'm wired to you, you're wired to me, and we're all wired to self-destruct. Who's going to defuse this time bomb? Okay, let's look again at the imagery. PC room. For many people who grew up being, again, this is before you could play games through Twitch and through the internet, people would go into these PC rooms to play games. So even if you're not personally familiar with it, it creates a very pleasant imagery. But that's juxtaposed with the cigarette smoke, a very negative, powerful, stormy image, the storm cloud. We're wired, self-destruction, this time bomb. Again, every single line has a very powerful, evocative image that is linked to your emotions and to your memory. And I say, knife your face. I'm happy with mine. Bleach your skin. I'm yellow and proud of it. Grandma, rise up out of the gutter and dance with me. I'll champion the old Korea, what's left of it. Empty the trash, cut the wires, end the games. Be your own Final Fantasy. Let's look at the images again. Again, back to the knifing and the bleaching in different colors. Remember we talked about how advertisements tend to be very sensual. So we have these very visual images of color here. The grandma now rising up after she's been in this gutter, and they're dancing together. Empty the trash. So now it's come full circle. All that trash that you experienced at the beginning of the essay is being cleared away. You're cutting the wires. You're ending this cycle of self-destruction. You're ending this game. Be your own Final Fantasy is the best final line I've ever seen in an essay. Does this essay evoke strong emotions? Absolutely. Memories? Does it convey a clear brand? Yes. As I said, that Final Fantasy line is indelibly inked into the reader's mind. Remember at the beginning of this video I said, well, can the reader describe you in one line or less? Yes. This is the Final Fantasy guy. Everyone will know who they're talking about. After they read this, they're still going to remember this. This was in 2009. I still remember this essay very clearly. I still remember the walk, the trash, the surgery clinics, all of that. I still remember that because it's embedded in my long-term memory. So, can the reader describe you in one sentence or less after reading your essay? You have to ask yourself that. If you have any doubts, have someone read your essay and have them summarize it quickly. If they can't, well then perhaps you need to clarify and rebrand yourself. As we've seen, by creating vivid, visceral imagery, you can brand yourself in the reader's mind. You can create an image that is unforgettable, that will make them want you, that will intrigue them about you. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Chaim Durst.